Blur. God, you wouldn't have Oasis look after your cat, would you? Blur. Glastonbury forever. Oh. I'd mix WKD and Red Stripe together, I have to say. They're both disgusting on their own, and together maybe they cancel each other out. Mixtape or vinyl? Mixtape or vinyl? Mixtape or vinyl? Mixtape. Every mixtape you have is usually made by someone who fancies you, and they're giving you secret messages with the songs they put on there, so mixtape. Oh, Pulp Fiction. Who doesn't want to be Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction? Hacienda, every time. I was never a person who would learn how to dance music. I don't think I ever had the right bra. It felt a bit too jiggly and I'd have to hold on to my bosoms while I was dancing to dance music. Whereas at Hacienda you could do more of a sort of slow bogle and the tits stayed in the right place. Hacienda, based on my tits. If I had to choose between the Spice Girls and the All Saints, I would choose the Spice Girls on the basis that I managed to blag into their launch party for their first album. They had free champagne and oysters everywhere. It was the first time I'd eaten an oyster. I had it with some champagne. I found out that oysters and champagne make bad magic in the stomach. I went into the toilet. I had a very terrible time. And as I came out, apologising to everybody in the toilets who was queuing up for the miasma that I'd left behind me, I had to say to Baby Spice, I'd give it 5 minutes. I tell you what she wanted, what she really, really wanted. A Glade air freshener. I ruined that room with my bum. Sorry, Spice Girls. Ziggy zig ah. I would always choose curtains over crimping. There was always a delicious sense of anticipation and surprise when you got off with a boy who had curtains, then after you'd kissed him, pulled the curtains back to see what it was you'd been getting off with. Grunge or Britpop, that's a tricky one. I mean, at the end of the day, the grunge people were quite depressed, weren't they? It was a bit rainy. I think I'm going for Park Life. Park Life! If it was a choice between Red and Dead and Kukai, it was always jumble sales for me. I couldn't afford designer shoes. I got these out of bins. That was the grunge spirit. If you found it in a skip, that's a great outfit. I once found a sombrero with the width of 3 feet across it in a skip. I'm still astonished anyone threw that away. What were they thinking? I was told by Richie Edwards of the Manic Street Preachers that Silk Cut was the cigarette of the working class woman, and I purchased accordingly Silk Cut. Claw clips or scrunchies. Again, it's a null and void dilemma. You simply backcomb. You just backcomb until your hair is like a massive helmet. Bandanas or bindis? Well, bindis are cultural appropriation now, and the great thing about a bandana is if you're ever short of toilet paper in a toilet in an emergency, you can simply remove that bandana and use it as God intended. That's why Axl Rose always has one on his head when he's on tour. He never wants to be left without a wipeable option. Tracksuits or cargo pants? I'd go for cargo pants, but you have to be aware of the danger of them because there are so many pockets. The temptation is every time you see something to put it in your pocket for later, and before you know it, you're basically walking around wearing luggage. At the end of every day, you just need to empty out the pockets of the cargo trousers, start again fresh in the morning. Big breakfast or live or kicking? I think I have to go for big breakfast. Johnny Vaughan used to do hour-long monologues about just what he'd read in the papers that day, and I still think it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen on TV. Also, he was my co-presenter on Naked City, so Johnny Vaughan. Blackjacks give you the brilliant ability after you've eaten one to open your mouth and for everything inside to be black and for you to go, look into hell! So blackjacks. Courtney Love or Gwen Stefani? Courtney Love all the way, bitch! She was the original girl who did not care. She was the first woman I ever saw who did not give a... That was revolutionary to me. You have to understand, at that point in history, there were only 2 strong women role models in the world. Margaret Thatcher and Courtney Love. I chose Courtney Love.